One thing every successful individual, leader, and entrepreneur have in common is a consistent morning routine. Having a simple, easy to implement routine enables you to start your day with a sense of purpose, accomplishment, clarity, and direction. For this reason, I have prepared for you a free guide with an easy to follow 5 minutes morning routine and a tracking template where you can document your progress day by day. I've been receiving messages from some of you already telling me how this habit has transformed your days for the better. Download this 5 minutes morning routine right now by clicking the link on my show notes so you can start your day on purpose. Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of With Clarity and Purpose. And I am preparing to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks for 2 personal development trainings that I have. Today's Sunday and I'll be leaving on Tuesday. Of course, you'll be listening at this on Wednesday, one of these Wednesdays, but I'm recording so many podcast episodes just to be ready to take this long trip and to be able to have all the content recorded for all of you. So my experiences do not impact the value that all this content is creating for you. And because I'm leaving on Tuesday, Cody and I took Saturday just to have a whole day of quality time. And one of the things we decided to do was go to a movie theater. And we ended up watching Top Gun. Now, this is a new movie, but I know there is an older one, which, by the way, I haven't watched yet, but I watched a new one and I loved it. If you haven't watched it, you gotta do it, my friend, because today we are gonna be discussing the 3 mindset lessons from Top Gun. I'm gonna be specific about the lessons and high level about the movie, because if you haven't watched it, I don't want you to get all the information of what's going on. But just a spoiler, I'm gonna be talking about Top Gun, just in case if you're one of those people that you cannot know any information about the movie before you watch it. Maybe this is not the best episode for you right now. You can watch it and then come back at a later time. For me, I'm like, I don't care if someone tells me something about a movie, but what matters is you. So I'm just letting you know, spoiler alert. I may be talking about some of the things in the movie. I'm not going to provide details just for you, but I'm going to be a little bit more detailed on the mindset lessons. And there are so many in the whole movie. The movie is packed of action. It's packed of inspiration, motivation, romance, a little bit of everything, to be honest with you. But there are 3 lessons that particularly caught my attention. And as I was realizing this, which was by the second lesson, I'm like, oh my God, I need to write all this down because I'm gonna forget. And I would love to have a little bit of fun in this episode and record a podcast episode that it's all about the lessons from this movie of Top Gun. By the way, these are 3 powerful mindset lessons that if you incorporate it in your life as you move forward, you are gonna show up much more empowered and fulfilled in your path. So let's get right into it. Okay, so Maverick, which is Tom Cruise in the movie, he is training this group of students to do something that no one has ever done, okay? And while he's teaching these students to do something he hasn't even done, he reminds his students over and over that it's not about the plane, it's about the pilot. Because the planes that they're operating so many times, they don't have all the capabilities to really go through this challenge that they have, right? They have to do things they have never done before. They have to push the operating limits, the mechanic limits of the plane. And sometimes the students come up with mental limitations and they bring up a potential challenge, and Maverick always reminds them, it's not about the plane, it's about the pilot. And this is just a perfect analogy about our environment and then how we operate internally. Because in life there are challenges, in life there are obstacles, and as we continue working towards our goals and as we continue growing, we are gonna face complexities and challenges we haven't faced before. Because the fact that we are doing this, it means that we are growing. If we want different results, we gotta start behaving, feeling, and thinking differently. So it is normal to face challenges, because when you push the boundaries of your identity and of who you think you are, it's not gonna feel comfortable, right? So many times we are in situations where we may think that our environment does not support us. And we may talk about the environment as the obstacle itself. Like, for example, it's the environment, it's not me. I'm just in a job or in an environment that doesn't support my development. It's not me, okay? That's why I'm stuck, right? Sometimes we may fall into a trap where our environment makes us the victim of the situations, right? What he's saying here, that is not the environment, that you can actually, by showing up empowered mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, you can influence the environment in a positive way. That whenever we go through challenges, if you are in alignment and you're coherent and grounded, you can make the best out of that situation and get out of that situation with much more growth than you letting that situation influence you. Now, it doesn't mean that you're gonna stay there forever. It means that you're gonna go through a situation, get the lesson, and move forward with more wisdom. And there is a moment in the movie, I'm not gonna mention the specific moment, there is a moment in the movie where he is being faced by planes that are much more advanced than the plane he is flying. And he's with one of his students and he's like, oh my God, I mean, these are two planes that are way much more advanced than ours. We are basically done. And his student remind him, hey, remember what you have always told us. It's not about the plane, it's about the pilot. And he just gathered all that inner resourcefulness as a pilot, and he ended up destroying those two planes that were way more advanced than the one they were operating, right? Because he knew that he had the skills to figure out a way to survive in that situation. And now this was a situation of high distress. This was a situation where he needed to be resourceful or he wouldn't survive, right? It doesn't mean that we are facing these situations on the day-to-day, but it's such a powerful lesson because many times we act as such. Many times we act like we are in survival mode. And what sometimes we forget is that it doesn't matter the situation, it doesn't matter the challenge that we are facing, there is always a way. And that way comes from you trusting your gut, from you trusting your inner wisdom, your inner resourcefulness. Because believe me, whatever answer you're seeking is always within yourself. And if you stand so congruent in your beliefs and you do it from a place where you're operating out of love, you're gonna end up impacting the environment in a positive way, just as Maverick did in Top Gun. So that's the first one. It's not the plane, it's the pilot. It's not the environment, is how resourceful and how you can tap into that inner wisdom that you have within yourself to be able to influence the environment. Now, it is important to mention, this is something that you may do short-term, medium-term, while you are seeking to get it to a place that supports better your development and growth, just like he did. After he shot those two planes, there was another situation where he needed that extra help, right? Because he wasn't able to sustain. Okay, cool. So that's the first lesson, mindset lesson number 1. The second lesson is such a powerful one, and it's one that, I'm still working on. All of these lessons are things that I'm still working on because we are human beings. And even if we conquer our existing challenges, more complex challenges are gonna show up. And the more complex challenges mean that we are growing And the fact that we are growing means that we got to show up in different ways we haven't shown up before, right? So this is always a lifelong process. It is a journey, not a destination. The second lesson is whenever they are flying, one of the things that Maverick, the instructor, the teacher, Tom Cruise, he reminds his students is to he says, do not think, follow your gut. Do not think, follow your gut. You get in your head and you're dead. And it's so funny because there is a situation where Maverick ends up being in enemy grounds, just like something happened that he ends up in enemy grounds in a really stressful situation. And there was this student that doesn't let him there. He actually ends up fighting the other planes to be able to save the life of Tom Cruise, of Maverick in this case. And the student ends up being shot to the plane, and he ends up with Maverick in enemy grounds. And when he does that, Maverick runs towards him and he was like, why the heck you're here? I just tried saving your life. What are you doing? And he tells Maverick, hey, like you said, I didn't think, I just followed my gut. And then Maverick just literally shut up and he stayed silent, giving the reason of the student incorporated the lesson he had just given him, which is so powerful because many times our gut, our intuition is telling us to do something since the first time you just get that hit, like, oh, this, sometimes this person or this situation. And then we go into the overanalyzing mode. And when you start overthinking things, then you got out of your intuition. It's this frequency that when you tap into it, you must follow it. When you tap into your gut, you must go with it, right? And even though that wasn't the right decision, it was a lesson that you're supposed to get. But whenever we leave that frequency of our intuition and we start overthinking, that's when we get into our head. And when we get into our head, we are dead. In this case, not literally, but in a way that causes more suffering than fulfillment, right? And many times because we are seeking short-term satisfaction, we don't want to have these uncomfortable conversations. We don't want to face these challenging decisions. But you gotta ask yourself, are you making decisions out of short-term satisfaction or long-term fulfillment, right? Following your gut. I truly believe your gut is always right. Following your gut and starting to make decisions that align with that initial feeling, it's so important. And it's something that it's illustrated in the movie over and over. So that mindset lesson number 2. And then the number 3, this one is a huge one, and it's one that I put a lot of focus with my coaching clients, my students, and in my life too. There is a moment where, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, Maverick is training these students to do something, to do a mission no one has ever done, in a way that they need to push the boundaries of what's mechanically possible in the plane. Not even Maverick has done this lesson. And there is a moment where he realized it is so important that the students believe that they can do it. And he tells one of his superiors, they need to believe that they can do it. If they don't believe it, they are not gonna do it, right? Because no one has ever done it. The only way they can make it through and survive, because I want to make sure that they come home. I want to make sure they succeed in the mission, but they also need to come home, right? Because he was such a great leader in the movie. And he said they have to believe it. I love what happens next. So something happened in the movie, right? If you haven't watched it, you don't know what it is. But if you have watched it, you know that something happens towards the end of the movie where he actually ends up doing the challenge and demonstrating that it was possible. And here's the thing, Maverick had never gone through that challenge, through that obstacle that they were practicing. He had to believe it in his mind in order to execute it and in order to make it happen. If he wouldn't have believed it, that was not gonna happen. And he did it with much less time than what everyone else ever anticipated. Everyone was in shock when he actually did it. But the fact that he did it and he led with integrity, right? Because whatever he thought about teaching the students, which is the belief of you can do it, really. The belief of whatever you're trying to make it happen, even if you don't see it, even if you have to have faith about it. The most important element of that faith is the belief that it's possible, the belief that you can do it. And he led with integrity because he actually demonstrated that it was possible. And sometimes it's hard to really have faith in something that is possible if you have never experienced someone doing it. But he was the first one. He led with integrity, demonstrating that it was possible to go through the obstacle in less than the time that they were practicing doing it, right? And anyways, at the end of the movie, they ended up doing it, and there were a couple of obstacles, but they managed. I love that mindset lesson number 3 because in this lesson, there are 2 things. One, you have to believe that you can do it. Me being in this entrepreneurship journey and literally leaving voluntarily my corporate job last year to transition full-time into entrepreneurship, there is a lot of belief in myself and in the impact that I can make in others' lives in order to have decided to leave my stable 6 figures corporate job. And one of the things that have really helped me is reading about stories of people that have made it happen. Surrounding myself with people that are doing it already, right? Because whenever you see those data points and you're like, okay, they did it, I can definitely do it, right? Knowing that it's possible, the only thing you have to work within yourself is the belief in self. Because they did it, I've done it. I'm not different than you. They're not different than you. They have all the resourcefulness just within yourselves, and you too. I don't have access to like elite mentors other than the ones I pay for or anything like that. I was born in Cuba. And we went through a lot of challenges and a lot of, risks really in our lives in order for me to be here with my mom. Literally, my mom was the person that would have the least amount of resources. And somehow, because she had the hope that leaving Cuba and being able to get into the United States and follow this American dream, because she believed it was possible, she was able to be presented the opportunity to do it. And then she took the action to make it happen, right? So whenever we think that our environment influences us, I want you to step back and think twice, because there are many people that have been in worse environments than the ones we have been, and somehow they have made it happen because of this mindset lesson number 3, the belief in self, that you can do it. And I'm doing this podcast episode and everything that I'm doing with my business and my career because I believe in your unlimited potential to make your dreams happen. I believe in your limited potential to make anything that you want to be and you want to do happen. Okay, and I'm sure you do too, because that's why you're here. The second piece within this third mindset lesson is the integrity that he had to demonstrate it first and then lead others towards that path. One of the things I've always said, I don't ask my clients to do something, my coaching clients to do something I am not doing myself. To me, that's the ultimate lack of integrity. Because how can I tell my coaching clients to practice meditation, practice gratitude every day, do their homework because they do homework after every session, if I'm not showing up in the same way? And just like them, I have ups and downs, just like you that you're listening to the podcast right now. I have ups and downs, of course. What's important is to course correct and get back on track, my friend, because we have this one life. We have this one life and it's happening right now, just in this right moment. There is no 1 more second, 10 more minutes guaranteed. It is now. So with these 3 mindset lessons, I want you to ask yourself, how do you choose to live your life as you move forward? How do you choose to incorporate these 3 mindset lessons into your life? Let me summarize them again. Mindset lesson number 1 is not the plane, it's the pilot. It's not the environment, it's you who can influence the environment and just make it happen. Mindset lesson number 2, don't think, follow your gut. You get in your head and you're dead. Just start aligning. The more you follow your gut and your intuition, you align more. The more you align more, you attract more abundance and wealth into your life. And mindset number 3, we need to believe that it's possible. It starts there with that belief that even though if we're not seeing it right now, it's gonna happen for us because we are showing up consistently. I hope this episode was super helpful. If you're motivated, inspired, if you really enjoyed the content, please share it with one friend or one family member. This is the first time I do something related to a movie or anything that happens. So I would love to hear your thoughts. I'm in Instagram, I'm in LinkedIn, Facebook, email, ybcoaching.com, my website. I would love to think what your thoughts are. I would love to hear what your thoughts are so I can do more of what you like. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to support you. Okay, wishing you all the love and gratitude for today. And I'll see you next week. See you soon. Bye-bye. Clarity and purpose. I really hope you enjoyed today's episode. Sharing is caring. Please share with your friends and family so we can continue building an empowered community together. I'll see you next week.